Hello there.
Hello.
Hi, welcome to the stream.
Yep, nice to be here.
Thanks for joining on. I was just reading through the itch.io page. So you've got to control and oversee the events of mild importance using your state-of-the-art equipment. It can be stressful, but you'll be okay as long as you perfectly follow the provided copy of the intervention protocol. Okay.
Yep. Thanks
Um,
for reading that because not everyone does, and then they have problems.
I see. So the intervention protocol is sitting on the bottom of the screen here. You got to click onto that and use it for reference in the game.
Yeah, that's the entire idea of the game, kind of.
Got it. Okay. So we go ahead and
We just
get
didn't
the
have enough time to implement like a story or dialogue or something to introduce you to it. And so if you don't read this, you can almost miss it.
got it. Okay. Oh my goodness. How did you get this wonderful is this a shader effect on the smoke and the screen here?
Yeah, the smoke was just animated on Photoshop. That's like 48 frames of animation that weren't necessary, but I just had to waste a lot of time on it when we
Mm-hmm.
were very close to the deadline.
Mm-hmm.
But it paid off, I think. And the shader is, yeah, that's a shader. Like we have a separate scene with just black and white graphics that goes through the process of like posterization and
Mm-hmm.
then color mapping. And it has this like CRT effect on top of it.
Nice. So what was your role on this project?
I'm one of the two guys who did this. We were both coders, but Yogurt did most of the coding, and I did all of the art and
Mm-hmm.
some of the coding, like a little bit.
Nice. I mean, yeah, the the art on this is it looks like a really high fidelity pixel art with a like a really distinct style to it. So, is art, would you say your specialty?
Yeah, thanks. And yeah, it is, and this style is actually pretty new to me. I'm used to making very little, uh, like minimal pixel art. Not minimal, like 16 by 16 kind of deal. I've actually released one game before that's called Redungeon, if someone uh, is willing to check that out. And so I'm used to the kind of pixel art where every pixel is like a detail, but
Hmm.
here it's like more painterly, and
Hmm.
I was kind of developing it as I was going, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, okay. So I I'm looking for these up and down arrow buttons and I don't see them.
No,
Am
those
I reading this
refer
wrong?
to your actual keys on your keyboard.
Oh, okay, okay. I get it. And then you're going to press W to open the lid and hold it, and then press E to add salt. Okay, 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 okay. And then move left and right to stir when there's the yellow blink, and then until that turns off. When you are ready, pull the lever to intervene or press enter. Keep stabilizing for 1 minute. Okay. Okay, so you're pressing up and down, adding salt. Huh. Okay. I think I've got an understanding how this works. So you want to keep the heat sort of good, um, decrease the heat. Oh my god. There's a lot to remember here. Between 82 and 89 degrees, warning with this light. Okay, and then when there's purples when you need to add salt. And then yellow light is this. Okay. So yeah, you're saying that other people also have some trouble with this.
Yeah, I mean, this whole instruction, the protocol, uh, by the time we got to actually drawing the protocol, it was like something like 10 minutes to deadline, so I just had to throw it together really quickly. And it's not really clear, not like crystal clear. And it really should have been crystal clear for this. But yeah.
Wow. Oh, here, first of all, let me actually make sure to share the game link with everyone here. So what am I doing wrong here? So I've got to keep the pasta like between 82 and 85 degrees. And then I saw that when it's yellow, I'm supposed to press left and right.
Yeah, you're supposed to open the lid by holding
Okay.
W. And then press.
Okay. Oh my god.
Yeah, the idea is kind of to overload your attention.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. And then what do the other buttons in the environment do?
Yeah, those buttons, we initially intended to use them in game, but we found out that it wasn't really fun to switch between keyboard and mouse to play this. Like, it's intense. You don't have enough time. So, yeah, like we wrote in the description, those on-screen buttons just ended up being like fidget toys. But they have sound and like we made them complete before we decided to ditch them.
Oh no. Oh my gosh, I think I just barely succeeded there. So can you just cook it with the lid open?
You shouldn't. It should be hard because when you open the lid, the temperature goes down more fast. But
yeah,
like it's not perfectly balanced. I think you can find like ways to cheat, especially in the second task.
Oh my goodness. Okay, well I'm gonna. Okay, so you've got two tasks. How many tasks are actually in the game?
And there was just two.
Okay.
We weren't hoping to complete even one, but then like very close to the deadline, we just started making the second one, and by some miracle we like made a half of it. But it's technically there. But we had initially had ideas from the initial brainstorm to make like 6 levels or something.
Wow.
Levels are pretty easy to implement, but we just didn't have time. So they are pure content and they're pretty quick to code. Just if there was another day, that'd probably be like 6 levels.
Yeah, I mean it's. Okay. So by ignoring the temperature, I think I'm sort of getting a handle on it. It's definitely a very difficult game to understand what you're supposed to do at first. And okay, I actually managed to succeed at the first game finally.
Yeah, see, so it's supposed to be satisfying when you finally do it, because you start off completely lost, and then you gradually like click into it.
I think it would be really helpful if you had an indicator of not just how close you are to failing, but your progress as well, so you know
Yeah, you
how
actually
close you
have the
are.
progress bar below, but it doesn't work in the first task. It's just a bug. It does
Oh,
work
okay.
in the second.
Oh, so that's what this bar down at the bottom here is supposed to be.
Yeah, yeah.
Got it. Okay. I do appreciate that the bar at the top at least does reset, because I think it would be really difficult and demanding to get through the whole thing in just one go.
Yeah.
All right. Do I even dare tackle the second project? Oh no. Oh no. That's a lot of keys to remember.
It's actually should be easier than the first one because it's not complete, but some people find it harder, so we'll see.
So press E if there's a sandstorm, press W. Okay, only the one page at least. Well, I'll try it. Um, so where did the inspiration behind this game come from?
We started to brainstorm the theme, and it's difficult to remember how it went, but games like Space Team popped up a lot.
Mhm.
Papers, Please, and Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes,
Mhm.
and Please Don't Touch Anything. Like all those uh, claustrophobic games and job simulators, you know, where you have like this just workspace
Mhm.
with some silly contraptions around you, and you have to perform some set of actions. So we wanted to make that, but for something unstable. And we thought about unstable things, and we actually, if you know, there's this neural network called GPT-3 that
Mhm.
generates the text. And we threw uh, a request into that via a chatbot. We just asked it, like, what are some unstable things?
Mhm.
And it spitted out a list of like weather and politics and like mental health and stuff like that. And so we started thinking like what can be possibly a gameplay around all that at once. Like what is some contraption,
Mhm.
some device that can like stabilize things as different as like cooking pasta and like mental health
Mhm.
and everything in between, you know, like with increasing levels of abstraction. So our initial idea was that this is like I've skipped the part where you read the description, but I assume you read it. Like around this, uh, some kind of corporation
Mhm.
in this like sky where your mystical job is to like intervene in human events
Mhm.
using this machine. So yeah, that's how it came to be. And then this art style is just a mock-up that I threw together with a couple of like brush strokes in the beginning, and then when we like accepted it, I started working on it, and I just left this like the quality of like mock-upness. So it ended up like this clayish thing, like it's made of out of clay. And if you know
Mhm.
the old game Neverhood, when people see this game, the Neverhood comes up a lot because this reminds them of that game. So we even tried to find music that would fit this particular style and would sound like music from that game, but we didn't really
Mhm.
find anything. So yeah, that's kind of the story of this development.
Nice. Yeah, because I I was really wondering like what would lead to and you know you mentioned like keep talking nobody explodes with the yeah, you know that's where the inspiration or sorry the intervention protocol came from. I guess so the thing that is tricky I would say is that there's a bit of a lack of feedback because when the rover is malfunctioning here when one of the pieces starts shaking and I start trying to press a key to repair it and I hold the button down, I don't have a clear indication that it's actually doing what I said. Like with the light,
Yeah,
I can
yeah,
immediately see that it's working or not working, as the case may be. But yeah,
yeah. You're
it's a
completely
whole lot
right.
to remember at once.
Yeah, we didn't have the time to implement the little feedback indicators. Like
Hmm.
when you press a button, something should happen somewhere
Yeah.
to show you that it's working. Yeah, you're completely right. We just didn't have the time. So we do intend to make a more full version of this game
Hmm.
in the future, maybe even release it somewhere like on Steam. Uh, and yeah, we'll definitely polish that to a level where no such failures of like little things.
Yeah. So I guess the main thing I would recommend is that you have the feedback, but that also you build up to what you need to do in stages. Like maybe you do pasta stage 1 and you are only responsible for managing the temperature. And then you do pasta stage 2 where you're managing just the stirring. And then pasta stage 3, you have to manage the temperature and the stirring. And maybe the way you can justify that is that because you're new to the job, you're working together with other intervention agents and you're each only responsible for one task at a time. And that way you can sort of learn the mechanics of the game just a little bit at a time, and it's not just a huge, overwhelming amount of information all at once.
Yeah, like a more friendly learning curve.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So this first level, the pasta, it should have been initially it was intended to be like almost a joke, like you intervene into pasta. The real tasks, starting from the second task, like it's a Mars rover, it's something, it's like an event with stakes and stuff. So it should have gotten harder from that point, and the pasta should have been really easy. But yeah, we just didn't have time to balance it out. So yeah, it will clearly does need like some kind of tutorial and some kind of gradual increase in difficulty. Yeah, I agree.
Oh boy. Yeah, I think having like the interface and everything, like it looks beautiful with the pixel art. I think it will help if you have a little bit more emphasis, like when you actually throw the switch, maybe you can punch in on the screen, and that will give you a little more resolution to show some warnings and indicators. um like you can have little hints, like I don't know if you want to display like text hints of like too hot, too cold. um the like rather than the information just being here in the manual. um I feel like it is possible to have the player internalize the information that's in the manual. um or otherwise you could make it so that it depends on what angle you want to lean into. If you want to lean into making this more like keep talking nobody explodes, then the information could be more spread out. But then when an issue comes up, you need to give the player a little more time to react, so that a second player could then like flip through and find like, oh, you got to do this to fix it.
Yeah, maybe something like the experiment. Like we know that things like keep talking nobody explodes do work. We wanted to experiment with this idea that you don't have any guidance. Like the first mock-up of this game had these like almost quick time event kind of hints that the game would just tell you what to do. And we thought about it and we thought that it would be like just QuickTime events simulator. Like people normally don't really like QuickTime events. So building the whole game just around that might have been too familiar and too simple. And like I don't necessarily think it would be bad, because QuickTime events that interrupt like cinematic experience in a big game, that's what people don't like. If the game was specifically about QuickTime events, it could have been pretty fun in itself. But yeah, this was an experiment in trying to make the player like memorize the whole set of instructions, so that by the time he beats the task, he kind of feels like this task has been with him the whole time. He just learned it. He's just mastered it. And the idea is that this feeling of mastering something that was really hard to master is what we are trying to give the player in the end. Kind
Yeah.
of. Maybe we have to like trace back from that a little and like make it a little bit softer, but still have elements of it.
Yeah, and I think you can really build towards that mastery by introducing the mechanics just a little bit at a time. And even like once you've done that, you can even make the rules a little bit more complicated. But I think at least for the earlier levels, it'd be best to lean off how quickly the player is thrown into a failure condition. For example, with the Mars rover, you can make it so that having the lights on during when there's no sandstorm is also contributing towards your failure, and just like have a little warning that appears on screen like turn light off or something like that.
Yeah.
But then you only want to build up to that level of difficulty, and you want to give the player a little bit more time to react, so that those bars, those lights at the top of the screen don't fill up quite so quickly.
Yeah, that's probably right. Yeah.
And that'll give you the opportunity to have like task 1, task 2, task 3, but then also like task 1A, 1B, and you can even mix and match. You can say like, okay, we're going to do task 1A and then task 1B, and you're going to switch to task 2A and 2B, and then you switch back to 1C and 1D, and you can sort of go back and forth and build up the complexity that way. Or you can just have all of task 1 in a row and build on the. I don't know. It really depends on how much variety you feel like you're getting out of the gameplay by sort of slowly building it up.
Yeah. We could make like uh, the first set of levels to be different cooking levels, like not necessarily just pasta, but
Yeah, that absolutely could
things
work.
that behave similarly, but just look different enough to be interesting.
Yeah, there you go. So like there could be something that needs just the heat, something else which needs just stirring, and then something that needs both stirring and heat, and then maybe pasta is like the final thing that you cook. And that way you keep the variety, and it doesn't just feel like you're doing the same task over and over again, but it actually feels like you're building up your skill in that. And the other opportunity you can have is potentially some mechanics are similar between one task and another. So rather
Mhm.
than constantly reintroducing the player to the concept of managing heat, maybe you need to manage power output on the rover, and the up and down arrows behave the same on the rover as they do on the heat controls. And that's that thing you kind of avoid re-tutorializing to the player. You kind of expect them to remember how that works.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah,
All right.
probably.
Uh, I would definitely love to see more of this game as you continue development. So, um, yeah, Yogurt the horse, and uh, how do you say your username, by the way? Is 13x666 or
Yeah, it rarely comes up like pronunciation of it. So yeah, I think just shorten it to 13 is okay.
okay? All right. Well, I really appreciate that, and I hope that you'll consider sending the game over my way, and I'd love to like talk about the design of it more as time goes on. If you
Yeah,
do
we will.
continue work on the project.
Yeah,
And yeah, where, where
we're
else?
hoping.
Sorry?
We're hoping to continue. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. And then, yes, Yogurt the Horse, please feel free to drop a link to your itch.io. And 13, where else can people find you?
You disappeared for a
Oh,
moment.
sorry, I was just
Missed the
saying,
last one.
where else can people find you? Can you hear me now?
Oh, on Twitter we have like my handle is the same as my nickname, unpronounceable, and yeah, yogurts. I think yeah he sent the link into the yeah. So in the chat
Perfect.
we have links. Yeah.
Yep, everything's there. So uh, here's this one. Here's Yogurt's itch.io. And yeah, all right, excellent. Well, thank you so much for joining me on the call today. And yeah,
Yep. Thank you.
this I really love this GIF here. It's really, really like the art is totally
Thank you.
it really steals the show. But I would love to see the gameplay refined a bit, because I think it is a really fun idea fundamentally. It's just a matter of easing the player into the experience. So
Yep.
All right. I guess we'll wrap things up there for now, but enjoy the rest of your day and hopefully get to talk again soon.
Thank you.
All right. Bye bye.